Alright, welcome to part 2 of my Green Day collection video. So we just went over all of the random stuff, now we're going to get into the actual music. I'm going to take this album by album. So we're going to see my vinyl and CDs, both singles and full-length albums in this, and I'm doing it by order of release. So what came first? So the first Green Day album, sort of. This is 1039, Smoothed Out Slappy Hours. So this is actually not the first Green Day album. I have the first Green Day album. This is a compilation. So the first Green Day album is 39 Smooth. So this is the first 10 songs on this. So the story with this. This original album was released on Lookout Records. This was their first full-length album. 39 Smooth. It was released in 1990. It was recorded, it actually says on the back here, recorded in 22 hours from 4:30 p.m. December 29th, 1989 to midnight January 2nd, 1990. So yeah, this was originally released on Lookout Records, which was an indie, or an independent punk label in the Bay Area in California in the 90s. They just recently folded in 2000, I think it was like 2005, something like that. But anyway, they released this, and then I don't have any of the Green Day releases on Lookout Records. I have something else that was released on Lookout Records. But the major label that Green Day signed to, Reprise Records, re-released all of their old stuff that was on Lookout. And so when they did that, they released 39 Smooth, plus the first 2 EPs that Green Day released, 1,000 Hours, and Slappy. And they combined them into this compilation called 1039 Smoothed Out Slappy Hours. So it actually shows the covers for the album and the EPs on the back there, of the CD copy. When they re-released the vinyl, they released it as 39 Smooth, and they also released the EPs along with it in this big package. So this is 1,000 Hours EP. This is Green Day's very first release in 1989. It has 1,000 Hours, Dry Ice, Only of You, and The One That I Want. So yeah, these guys, there's a really early picture of the band with the original drummer, John Kiffmeyer, there. So John Kiffmeyer was the original drummer of Green Day. He played the drums on this first album and these 2 EPs, and then Tré Cool took over with Kerplunk. This is the Slappy EP. This is one of my favorite Green Day releases ever. This has my favorite Green Day song on it, Paper Lanterns, which is the first song on the record, or on the EP. It also has Why Do You Want Him, which is a great song, 409 in Your Coffee Maker, which is fantastic, and Knowledge, which is a cover of Operation Ivy, which was the original band that Tim Armstrong from Rancid broke out in. So yeah, another picture of the guys on the back there. So this is a fantastic EP. Billy Joe Armstrong actually also credits this as when Green Day started to find that core Green Day sound on this EP. Alright, next up, sorry I'm going to be reaching down quite a bit in this video because that's where I put all the stacks of stuff. Next up is Kerplunk. It's the second full-length album, also originally released on Lookout Records. This is the reissue on Reprise. Again, similar story. When Reprise reissued these records, they also threw in the Sweet Children EP, which Green Day recorded in between albums. Another story. I know a lot of Green Day history. When Green Day originally formed, they were called Sweet Children. That was the first name of the band. And so when they recorded this EP, they titled it Sweet Children, and the song on there, Sweet Children, Best Thing in Town, Strangeland, My Generation. So yeah, there's the track listing on the back. I do not own Kerplunk on vinyl. Yeah, just the CD copy for Kerplunk. Next up, so this is the essential, well, one of the essential Green Day albums, Dookie. What has not been said about this album? One of the best punk albums of all time. This was Green Day's major label debut. They signed with Reprise Records in 1994. That was a very controversial decision. A lot of people thought that Green Day sold out. They ended up getting banned from the club that they had came up in, 924 Gilman Street. They weren't allowed to play at Gilman Street for about 20 years, I think it was, after they signed to Reprise and released Dookie. There was that big of a backlash from the punk community against Green Day. I think it's very, very unfounded criticism, and I think people have since changed their minds now after Green Day has blown up. Green Day always had that pop-punk sound. They were never really a hardcore band at all. They really didn't change their sound at all, really, on Dookie. I think a lot of people were just upset because Green Day was kind of their band, and then when Green Day released Dookie, they became a worldwide band. And I think there's a lot of backlash with that, and that's the reason why it got so messed up. This was one of the reissues that I got off of Amazon. You'll notice it does not have Ernie from Sesame Street on the back. I do have the CD copy, and the CD copy that I have does have Ernie from Sesame Street on the back, which is really cool because they took him off of the presses after like the first few presses because they were worried, of course, about copyright issues. But so it's really cool that I have a copy with Ernie on the back. It's a little bit more rare and exclusive. So yeah, my vinyl copy is just on regular black vinyl. Alright. I have a couple CD singles from the Dookie era. So we've got Longview. And this is an import. As you can see, comes from Australia. So yeah, that's cool. There's a CD single. Comes with Longview On the Wagon, which is a non-album track. And then FOD Live. And then I have Basket Case. So this comes with Basket Case, Longview, Burnout, live versions of those. 2000 Light Years Away, another live version. So I actually wanted to briefly go back because I wanted to mention my favorite songs from each album. With 39 Smooth, my favorite songs are At the Library, Don't Leave Me, Going to Pasalacqua, and The Judge's Daughter. So, of course, Paper Lantern's my favorite Green Day song of all time. That's on Slappy. And then with Kerplunk, my favorite songs off of Kerplunk, 2000 Light Years Away, Welcome to Paradise, which was, of course, the big hit on Dookie, originally recorded for Kerplunk. Who Wrote Holden Caulfield, and Android is also one of my favorite Green Day songs off of Kerplunk. With Dookie, my favorite song off of Dookie is probably Chump. Also really like She, When I Come Around, of course the hits like Longview, Basket Case, etc. Burnout. Really, that whole album is fantastic. Alright, next up is the Insomniac era. So Insomniac is pretty much a direct response to all of the criticism that they got when they made Dookie. Everybody, again, arguing that Green Day sells out, that they're not punk anymore. And so they released Insomniac as basically a big middle finger to all of those people. A very hard, dark punk rock album with Insomniac. One of their most underrated efforts for sure. This is a fantastic album. Favorite songs, Armitage Shanks, Gig Stink Breath, 86, which 86 is pretty much a song directly about Gilman Street, and the clubs that they got banned from. Stewart and the Avenue is also one of my favorites. Of course, Brain Stew Jaded. Walking Contradiction is just a fantastic end to this record. So yeah, Insomniac, definitely one of my favorite Green Day albums. See if I can open this CD here. I don't own this one on vinyl either. Definitely need to change that. I do have a few CD singles from Insomniac. So we've got Stuck With Me. This is part 1. This comes with Stuck With Me and live versions of When I Come Around and Jaded. This one is made in England, as you can see. And then this is the part 2 for Stuck With Me. This is live versions. So the live version of Stuck With Me, live Dominated Love Slave, which is hilarious. That's a song that Tré Cool sings on from Kerplunk. And then Chump, a live version of Chump. And finally, I have the Brain-shaped CD single for Brain Stew Jaded. Has Brain Stew Jaded, Do Da Da, Good Riddance, and Brain Stew. The clean radio faded ending. So yeah, this is actually a brain-shaped CD, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know how well this sounds. I haven't tried to play it, but yeah, pretty freaking cool. Alright, the next album to talk about, Nimrod. So this is the CD copy that I own. This was one of the original Green Day albums that I ordered online. This CD skips terribly. I've played it so much. Again, one of the most underrated Green Day albums. Obviously, I've got the t-shirt on right now. Everybody always talks about Green Day. They talk about American Idiot, and they talk about Dookie, which is, rightfully so. Those are the major hits. But the albums in between are oftentimes glanced over, but they're fantastic records. Nimrod is a very eclectic mix of random sounds. It has a little bit of songs that sound similar to Insomniac. There's some songs that get very experimental. There's a surf rock song on here, which I actually don't like. That's one of the few Green Day songs that I don't like, which is called... What's it called? I can't find it. Last Ride In. I don't really like Last Ride In, but it's very surf rock inspired. There's also some ska inspired stuff on here. Of course, there's the acoustic ballad Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, which was the major hit off of this record. But the songs that I love the most on here, Nice Guys Finish Last, Hitchin' a Ride, The Grouch, Redundant, which is a fantastic song, Worry Rock, Reject, Prosthetic Head. Fantastic songs on this record. I do have a CD single from this one, which is Hitchin' a Ride. Also made in England there. Has Hitchin' a Ride, Sick, and Espionage. And then I have the vinyl copy. I will actually show you guys this record because this is a pretty cool looking record. As you can see, this is the 20th anniversary edition. This has a individually numbered 2LP yellow vinyl. So I got number 1436. So yeah, this has 3 sides, and then the 4th side is an etching. So I'll show you guys that. Alright. First of all, the gatefold. Fantastic picture of the guys there. And some lyrics. I'll just show you guys the one with the etching, because the yellow vinyl looks the same on each record. That way I don't have to get out both records. So there's the custom... Oh, that's actually the etching side, sorry. There's the custom labels. Beautiful vinyl. It's got some kind of swirl smoke action going on. And there's the etching. It just has the Green Day logo from the Nimrod era. It's kind of hard to see on the camera for whatever reason. But yeah, you can kind of see it going through the middle there. But a really beautiful looking record. One of my favorite albums of all time. I'm starting to build up my Green Day vinyl collection. Of course, when I started collecting was when I was getting really into Green Day, and so I bought a lot of their albums, or all of their albums, sorry, on CD. So, just starting to build up my record collection of Green Day. Alright. Next album is Warning. This is from 2000, also on Reprise Records. All of their albums since Kerplunk, or since Dookie, have been on Reprise. So anyway, this is a CD copy of the album. Another very underrated Green Day album. This is very kind of like folk rock inspired. I know Bob Dylan is credited as an influence on this record. Billy Joe was listening, I guess, to a lot of Bob Dylan, inspired some of his music. If you can imagine, maybe like punk rock, pop punk meets Bob Dylan. Maybe that's how you describe this record. Again, very underrated. This used to be one of my favorites. It's kind of slid down a little bit, but I still really love this album. It has one of my favorite songs of all time, Minority, on here. It also has really good songs like Misery, which is a very unique sounding song. Almost sounds a little bit like polka music, if you could think about that. Polka meets Green Day, another kind of cool thing to think about. I also really like Deadbeat Holiday, Waiting, which was a single off of this album. Very unique sounding Green Day song. Castaway is another great song off of this record. So again, if you haven't listened to kind of the in-between albums from Green Day, those albums in between Dookie and American Idiot, definitely recommend checking them out because they are fantastic and not a lot of people really talk about them. So I have quite a few vinyl singles, 7-inch singles from the Warning era. So this is Warning. These were all from Adeline Records, which you can see right down here. This was Billy Joe's independent record label that he started. It has since folded. I believe it folded in 2016, sometime around there. So I ordered these off of the actual Adeline Records store before the record label folded. So these are kind of cool. These were colored vinyl editions. They had re-released all of the singles from Warning on these colored vinyls. Another really cool thing about this single in particular, it just lists Warning as the only song on the record. But when you pull the record out of its sleeve, which it's on this really nice orange vinyl, so you see Warning on that side, and then the other side has Scumbag and Outsider. So yeah, pretty cool. There are actually B-sides on this record, even though it doesn't say so on the actual cover, or the sleeve. So there's Warning. I also have Minority, one of my favorite Green Day songs of all time. This is one of the reasons why I really fell in love with Green Day, this idea that you should be yourself, you should praise your individuality, and, you know, everybody who doesn't like it can go fuck off. And that's really the entire punk attitude. That's what punk music is about. And I really fell in love with that so much because I was somebody who in high school was pretty much an outcast. I, ate lunch by myself. I really didn't have that many friends. And when I, basically after school, I would go home and play video games. I really didn't do anything with people to be social. And so this idea of, being yourself, of not being afraid of being different, was a really powerful idea and the reason why I love Green Day so much. So this is the CD single, or the 7-inch single. Comes with Minority and Jackass. I believe there are actually more songs on this one as well that are not labeled on the sleeve. This is a cool pink marbled vinyl. So yeah, this has Jackass and then a live version of 86, which again is a fantastic Green Day song. Oh, about lost the vinyl there. And this one has Minority and a live version of Brat, which is from, both of the B-sides on this are from, the live versions are from Insomniac. And then we have Waiting, the single. Actually, it's supposed to look like that. My bad. It says Waiting and Maria, which is a fantastic B-side. And this one came with an insert, which for whatever reason just has the lyrics to Maria. It doesn't have the lyrics to the actual single Waiting. But still cool. It's got some dust on it. And there's the single there, that's Maria. It's nice, kind of, all kinds of dust and stuff on this record. Anyway, kind of a purple translucent. It's hard to see on the camera, but if I hold it up to the light a little bit. So there are those singles. Moving on, let's quickly get through a couple of these kind of in-between things, compilation releases. And then I'm going to take a quick break and be back for the rest of the albums. So, real quick, international super hits. The greatest hits, first greatest hits record for Green Day. Has most of the singles from Dookie through Warning. Also has a couple B-sides. Maria, which was just on the last single. And Pop Rocks and Coke. Also has JAR, which you can only get on this CD here. Here's the CD. And Shenanigans. So Shenanigans is the B-side collection. Has most of the B-sides again from Dookie to Warning. Really great songs on here like Scumbag, I Want to Be on TV, Don't Want to Fall in Love. Just one of my favorites on here. And then the closer for this album is fantastic. It's called Ha Ha, You're Dead. So a really good song on that as well. There's really cool artwork on this CD as well. So yeah, I'm going to take a quick break and then I will be back for the American Idiot era.